Guys, thanks for joining me today on this gloomy day. Things are changing down here on the old Maple Grove Farms. We are really taking a hard, we already took a hard left turn to get to where we're at with the cover crops and intercropping and companion cropping and all these other, and strip till and no till and all this other stuff we're doing. And then we're just going to kind of make another loop-de-loop and head back the other way now. We're going back to a simple farm. Back to a simple farm. We're going to reduce soybean acres a lot. We're going to reduce corn acres a little. We're going to bring in, we're going to grow a beef herd as fast as we can. And we're going to bring in small grains, and we're going to bring back more alfalfa acres. The beef, now, we're going to bring in a whole system here. The corn beans doesn't work. The longer you do a corn bean rotation in our soils, the more expensive it's going to get unless you have manure or something to do that. It's just going to get harder and harder every year, more expensive every year. Looking at future cash prices right now, I'm out nothing to try something different. We're going to have the best year of our life this fall on these suppressed prices, so I can't wait for a fall like this when we have good prices and good yield. But we're kind of going to bring this whole system together. All these soil health people talk about the system, So we're going to bring the cattle back for the brown manure, to give that field a change of pace, to rebuild that soil. So all pasture ground will be green manure and brown manure focused pastures, not just relying on the old grass that's there. Do the fence line grazing, manage the cattle some to try and be as efficient on the cattle as we can. To finish out the steers, I've been raising steers since 1985. Sold my first steer in the spring of '86 and bought a Honda Odyssey. and I bought a big radio controlled truck too. To be young and dumb with your money. Our corn costs have gotten so low that we can now bring profitability back to the beef. When we can produce corn for under $2 a bushel on the direct crop price, that makes it a very we're well under $2 a bushel. That makes that a very affordable feed for the steers. Mix it along with a good quality hay, and we won't need that much corn, that many acres anyhow for feed. And someday I wouldn't mind, I've already talked to a couple guys about silage. I love silage. It is a fantastic feed for them steers, and it's a good treat to give to cows once in a while if they need some conditioning. And so I jokingly said it at a meeting that I want to figure out how to fence line graze silage, so I'm not starting tractors and mixers and having all that investment to feed steers. And I was expecting a few people to laugh and be like, well, that's silly. And a couple guys were like, yeah, we've been doing it for a long time. It's very easy to do. It just takes a little bit of practice and setup, and you'll have it no problem. So I'm like, oh, awesome, great. So there's that option. So the cattle will be there. The small grains are going to be there for the small grains and the straw. We have a huge small square bale market for straw and alfalfa, so we are getting a small baler this winter, and we're going to be doing small squares. Then the small grains offer us the opportunity. You get the dual income, the straw and the grain. Then you can always follow it with an alfalfa to get the alfalfa established, or we can interseed the clover with the grain. So then behind the grain, you've got the Kira clover going. We're going to get a field seeded to that Kira clover. That takes a couple years to get a good crop established. But I think we're going to get a 20 acre going to that. And then, because that's a lifelong thing, and then just alternate corn, clover for free corn production there. So you can't really beat that either. So we're getting tremendously efficient, and that kind of carries through everything. Once you get one area super efficient, that cost and savings goes to the next one, and it kind of takes the stress off of each acre. So then the small grains, you get the grain, you get the straw, and we'll be able to put in a green manure crop or an alfalfa, whatever. So you can either follow it with corn for the green manure crop, or you can put in a weed suppressing crop to follow with soybeans. But whatever, there's tons of opportunity there. Obviously the cows, we're going to bring the cows, they're going to rotate every year from field to field. We're not just going to put them on a pasture and keep it there. The cows are going to move across land just like any other crop would, and then there's going to be corn on both sides of that pasture. One, the corn behind the pasture will be taking advantage of all the green and brown manure from the cattle, and the corn in front of the cattle will be there so when the fall comes behind the combine, the cattle can get out onto that field. So I think there's a way, if a guy's willing to put in the labor, and I don't think it takes a whole lot of labor. I think some simple, smart management. Yep, just put in your 8 hours every day. I think a guy can make it work very well. We have nothing to lose. It's, you know, we're talking, so what, 680, 690 beans, and we're talking 280, 290 corn. We have zero to lose on that. And I just keep paying off debt, and I'm not worried. I'm worried a little bit. I think everybody's worried a little bit because there's always something that can happen to your crop. But there's a good chance that next year, in the next couple years, I see within 5 years that we could be almost doubled in acres. We could almost be to 1,000 acres in the next couple years. If that happens, you'll see zero worry out of me because I will be doing cartwheels. But yeah, I would love to get to 1,000 acres with 200 or 300 head of cattle, and a lot of that acres into something other than corn and beans, which then also saves me a tremendous amount of investment money. I can slowly just kind of take my time and pick away at the grain bins and the grain handling facility, instead of like, oh crap, we picked up 500 acres, I got to build all these bins overnight, you know. No, we can slow our roll, and just everything we do is going to be calculated. Every nickel, you know, we manage, and that's why we are looking at $3 corn like, it sucks, but okay, we're still making good money. But yeah, so I'm excited. Time is not moving fast enough. Anybody that follows me knows that at 10:30 last night I was on the computer, and I was back on the computer this morning at 3:30. I do my research and reading, and then wait for the day to start. And so guys, I will leave you go right there. Thank you very much for watching, and please feel free to comment below. Go to Soilman, post a topic of whatever's on your brain, and we'll go from there. Thank you much, guys.